Lil Meech is a piece of shit. When Little Meech texts 50, man, what's going on, man? You know I give you the shirt off my back, and Rick Ross, he's a bitch. 50 looked at this like, you just like my little punk ass son. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what it's like to have beef with 50 Cent?
Mm-hmm.
50 Cent is incredible with the beef. Not just musically, with every day he was going viral. Yo, your mother, your wife. I'm like, oh my God, this guy here. Like, don't get beef with 50 Cent.
All right, 50 don't do nothing but tear down black man. Look at it. He's nothing giving. You've never seen 50 give nobody no flowers, no respect. He just play on people downfall. Diddy, Irv Gotti, Ja Rule. Yeah. Now Big Meech. You've never seen 50 say nothing positive, do nothing positive. He's a culture vulture.
I wasn't going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family to come out to the Amarant Arena, February 13th.
Big Meech just got exposed, and the internet is going crazy over it. 50 Cent dropped some paperwork that hints that Meech is involved in snitching. And let's just say, it's got people talking. But where did all this info actually come from?
Meech, why you going with Ross? The truth is, when we did take that picture with Meech, I ain't gonna lie to you, there was a lot of people in my comments with rat emoji before 50 even said nothing.
What do you think his next move should be?
He got a lot of things he can do, man. He might want to make a movie. Mm-hmm. He might want to do some different things where, because I understand how important real.
Well, 50's got some former BMF insiders backing him up, and they're spilling some serious tea. One of them recalled a conversation where Meech mentioned he needed to talk to Tammy first before moving forward with something. Now, if you don't know, Tammy isn't just some random name. She's actually a government informant. That's when the realization hit. Meech might have been way more involved in some behind-the-scenes deals than anyone thought. The problem? Big Meech isn't having any of it. Word on the street is he's about to show 50 what it really means to be a kingpin. This situation is getting messy. So let's break it down.
Give me my time. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Right. They ain't telling nobody. Because if you're telling, you can't even look forward to going home. It's gonna be hell. Where you going after you get out?
For one, this is a business relationship, right? They don't write stories and series on nobody's. Right, so BMF is BMF, but not because of 50, it's because of Big Meech, right? That's his story, that's his life, right? So I don't think 50 doing them no favors. They both profited, right? It ain't just like it was a one-sided deal. We both made money together.
To tell y'all or share this message with y'all, because I feel like it's somebody out here, or maybe there's a bunch of people out here that need to hear this.
You took a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
BMF Immortal, and it's cool. Like sometimes we switch perspectives, so it's from a law enforcement perspective.
Oh wow!
Instead of it being from the actual hustler side, or the aspirational side. Just you know how often someone gets in trouble and decides to tell on someone else to rap. Yeah.
So 50 Cent starts BMF. So he puts Lil Meech on. He puts $5 million in their pocket. Meech comes home, takes a picture with Rick Ross. 50 Cent throws him. Lil Meech reaches out. Hey, that's my pops. Rick Ross, I'm with you. What's your thoughts on how 50 Cent handled that?
One thing about 50 Cent, he's never afraid to expose someone. If he's got dirt on you, he's gonna let the world know. But when it comes to Big Meech, he might want to tread carefully because Meech isn't just any regular enemy. For those who don't know, Demetrius Big Meech Flannery was the mastermind behind the Black Mafia family, BMF, one of the most notorious narcotics empires in history. Back in the 1980s, he and his younger brother, Terry Southwest T. Flannery, started selling in small $50 bags. But by the early 2000s, their operation had exploded, reaching states like Michigan, Georgia, Florida, California, and Louisiana.
What is it with you and Ross that's just been going on for so long?
Nothing else works. For him. outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered further. I get covered across the board. They get covered on the hip hop blogs. It is what it is. And you watch because I have nothing else to say. You just see it happen periodically as it goes. You know, you see that big white elephant, that property he lives at? It costs more than the nightclubs. He's in the nightclubs. What kind of rich cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass? You trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh?
Ain't nothing wrong with cutting your grass.
And with big business comes big money. You know, the kind that catches the Fed's attention. To keep things looking clean, the brothers started BMF Entertainment, a music promotion company that also helped them launder money. Of course, this wasn't just a front. They did sign an artist, Blue Da Vinci, who even dropped an album in 2005 called The World Is BMF's. But let's be real, music was never the main focus.
50 had your key. Do you know what your one key? Me and you got the same key to any embarrassment. Whether it's factual or not, what is it? What's your key?
Being exposed?
Lena,
okay.
Then in October 2003, Meech's empire came crashing down. The feds caught up with him, and just like that, his kingpin days were over. Orange jumpsuit, locked up lifestyle, game over.
Lil Meech is a piece of shit. When Little Meech texts 50, man, what's going on, man? You know I give you the shirt off my back, and Rick Ross, he's a bitch. 50 looked at this like, you just like my little punk ass son. If you cross your daddy, you'll really cross me. So guess what? You too. And he responds, what next season?
At first, everyone assumed Blue Da Vinci was the rat in the crew. He looked like the weakest link, and conveniently, he didn't get arrested when the feds took down most of the BMF members. But things got even messier when BMF's logistics head, Dexter Sosa Hussey, pointed fingers at Blue, making people even more suspicious.
This is the gentleman's side of Meech, right? Yep. The plane lands Friday night. It's like 12 midnight. Alex calls me. He's like, yo, Chris, Meech needs the biggest suite in Cancun. I'm like, I ain't no travel agent. He's like, no. When I landed, they told me that you got the presidential suite at the Coral Beach. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I love Meech, but I'm not giving him my room. I'm like, yo, man, I'm not giving him my room. He's like, he'll give you $60,000 right now. I was paying $3,000 a night. He had that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But here's the gentleman's side of me. I switched to another suite. I get a phone call. I'm like, yo, what's up? Who's this? He's like, yo, is this Chris Latimer? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, we up in the presidential suite. I got some messages from you. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Tell me what they are. And I'm like, yo, brother, man, thanks a lot, man. Yo, tell Meech, good looking out, man. He's like, Chris, it is Meech.
That's important because a lot of people don't understand. To get to the top, you have to pay attention to every small detail. Okay. And knowing me calling him hear my voice, he knows the kind of man that I am.
Another source broke it down further, explaining that Blue didn't take a single plea deal. Instead, he went in and gave up information the feds already had, basically just confirming details other informants had already shared. So what does all this mean? It means the snitching accusations are flying, and nobody is safe. And if 50 Cent keeps pushing this narrative, it looks like the BMF legacy is about to get even more complicated.
50 don't do nothing but tear down black men. Look at it, he's nothing giving, you've never seen 50 give nobody no flowers, no respect. He just play on people downfall. Diddy, Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, now Big Meech. You've never seen 50 say nothing positive, do nothing positive. He's a culture vulture to me. A bully. For one, this is a business relationship, right? They don't write stories and series on nobodies, right? So BMF is BMF, but not because of 50, it's because of Big Meech, right? That's his story, that's his life. Right, so I don't think 50 doing them no favors. They both profited, right? It ain't just like it was a one-sided deal. We both made money together. Right? That don't mean I owe you no loyalty. That don't mean I can't go get money elsewhere, right? If more money get presented to me, right, I'm gonna go get me a bag. I just did 20 years in prison, right? I'm not gonna let nobody stop no bags come in because of y'all beef, bro.
I woke up today and I had this overwhelming thought in my head. And I think like something is telling me to tell y'all or share this message with y'all. Cause I feel like it's somebody out here, or maybe it's just a bunch of people out here that need to hear this. And it was like, you thought you were special. really thought you were special. Who told you you were special? You thought you were special.
So let's talk about Blue Da Vinci's court appearance, because this part of the story is wild. When Blue showed up in court, his own lawyer basically admitted that he tried to cooperate. The lawyer told the judge that Blue was debriefed by the government, but he didn't have anything useful to share about the other defendants. In simple terms, Blue wanted to snitch, but he didn't have enough dirt to make it worth their time.
Meech, why you going with Ross? The truth is, when we did take that picture with Meech, I ain't gonna lie to you, there was a lot of people in my comments with rat emoji before 50 even said nothing.
That brings up a big question. If Blue wasn't the one snitching, then where did the feds get their info from? Well, after getting dragged through the mud, Blue decided to clear his name. Instead of taking the fall, he went all in and leaked paperwork exposing Big Meech.
Problem with some rappers. Some rappers think they war ready and they beef ready till they step into the beef. And then they get somebody coming at them crazy. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what it's like to have beef with 50 Cent? 50 Cent is incredible with the beef. Not just musically, with every day he was going viral. Yo, your mother, your wife. I'm like, oh my God, this guy here. Like, don't get beef with 50 Cent.
During an interview with Cap Capone News, Blue dropped a bombshell about how it all went down. He said that back in 2023, he was chilling with Tone Bird, another BMF member, when they started talking about 50 Cent's BMF TV show. Tone asked what was going on with the project, and when Meech responded, he let something slip. He mentioned that the contract was almost done, but before they could move forward, he had to check in with Tammy first.
BMF Immortal, and it's cool. Like sometimes we switch perspectives, so it's from a law enforcement perspective.
Oh wow!
Instead of it being from the, the actual hustler side, of the aspirational side. Just you know how often someone gets in trouble and decides to tell on someone else to rap. Yeah, just to get themselves out of the situation they're in and back onto the streets.
Give me my time. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Right. They ain't telling on nobody. Because if you're telling, you can't even look forward to going home. It's gonna be hell. Where you going after you get out? The neighborhood ain't accepting that. We heard you's a rat.
Other people, they can go left on you so quick that you go, that the heater doesn't have capability of being loyal to anything.
I ain't never told on no in my life. Right. You needed protection, and your protection gone. That's the truth. That's what the it is. Right.
You took a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Now, that might not seem like a big deal until you remember who Tammy really is. Tammy Cowens wasn't just some business partner. She was a government informant. When Meech said her name, Blue immediately questioned him, asking what he meant. But Meech brushed it off, saying he'd get back to him later. And that was the last conversation they ever had. From that moment, fans started digging into who Tammy really was. Turns out, she had been Meech's business partner since 2008. When Meech got locked up, she kept in touch, ran errands for him, and handled business on the outside. But here's the crazy part. Meech actually signed over his life rights to her. That meant Tammy had full control over his story, and she could sell it and make millions. And that's exactly what she did. She played a major role in getting 50 Cent on board as the co-producer for the BMF TV series. But according to the paperwork Blue leaked, Tammy wasn't just out there making Meech famous. She was also working for the feds the whole time. And that changes everything.
I wasn't going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family to come out to the Amarant Arena, February 13th.
So here's where things get really interesting. In the official documents, Tammy was listed as CS1, which stands for Confidential Source 1. Basically, she was working as an informant for the DEA in Atlanta back in 2009. At the time, she handed over key information in a money laundering case, and because of her, a big-time narcotics dealer named Terry White got locked up. Now here's the thing, Tammy wasn't even getting paid for snitching at first, but after helping the DEA take down White, they saw potential in her. They figured if she could help once, she could do it again. Her controlling agent, Agent Harry, even recommended that Tammy get a cut of White's forfeited assets. Basically, a reward for her help in putting him away. And trust me, White wasn't just any street dealer. Dude was big time. An Atlanta kingpin. And when the cops finally caught him, they didn't just arrest him, they took everything. Before he got locked up, White was living large. He had upgraded from the projects to a massive $200,000 mansion in Jonesboro. And this wasn't just any house. He was in the middle of renovating it to include a full-length basketball court, a swimming pool, and more. The guy even had a media room with 24 TV screens, all wired up to a satellite dish. If he wanted, he could press a button, and boom, every single TV would turn on at once. When the feds raided the place, they didn't just find luxury cars and cash, they found a fully loaded Uzi, a stash of weapons, mink coats, and stacks of gold jewelry. Oh, and let's not forget $47,000 in cash and a money counting machine, because why not? So yeah, Tammy's intel led to all that getting seized. But here's the real plot twist. She didn't become an informant because she needed the money. Even the feds found her situation strange. According to the documents, she had no criminal record, was never a substance user, didn't care about money, and wasn't trying to cut a deal or get out of prison time. So why did she snitch? Apparently, it was personal. Turns out Terry White had been using her to launder money behind her back, and Tammy wasn't about to be anyone's pawn.
You know what's crazy? We went to Meech's house. He was with 50. He's talking about stuff in the future. He made your family money. You would think you would be a little bit appreciative, but motherfuckers don't have to be loyal to 50 in business. That's how I guess that's how Meech felt, because he's his own boss, you know. But when you take little Meech and you put him in acting school, you know, you take him from Detroit. I remember him rapping when he was rapping. Nobody helped him, and then 50 put him in acting school, kept it on the low, and he made all this money. You understand what I'm saying? But to be young and have money, motherfucker got Richard Millie's. Little Meech got Richard Millie's Chrome Heart jeans, 10,000. So it's like, I understand him being young and all that, but when we go to your crib and me and Murder sitting in the backyard and you like, yo, little baby ain't give me no money. He came in the Ferrari truck. He had the Ferrari truck. He had 4 pockets full. I'm looking at this like, yo, this nigga tripping. Like, little baby he's not obligated to give you nothing. I looked at it like, from that point, maybe 50 should have brung a bag for Meech and maybe a watch or something. And obviously that's what Ross did or whatever. My whole thing is, maybe the relationship would be good if you saved some money for your pops when he came home. But I understand how it is to be a young black man with money.
But here's the bigger question. Why did she keep working with the feds even after White was out of the picture? Well, that's where things get even crazier. While all this drama was going down, Meech was scheming behind bars. Locked up with Fidel Suarez, a cartel member with deep connections, Meech saw an opportunity. Suarez owned a trucking company in California and had already been under investigation for substance exploitation twice, once in 2005 and again in 2009. Meech's plan? Use Suarez's network to move substances and make some quick money while still locked up. But there was one big problem. It's kind of hard to run an empire when you're stuck behind prison walls, and that's where Tammy came in. According to official documents, September 2010 was when Meech made his move. He reached out to CS1, aka Tammy, and asked her to help coordinate a shipment. Suarez was already in contact with her, and it seemed like the perfect setup. Tammy later testified that her first interaction with Suarez was over the phone when he called her, checking in on Meech. With Tammy in the mix, Meech used her as the middleman to connect Suarez with his longtime friend, Dion Cuffy Gatling, another big-time player in the illegal substance world. Now, if you haven't heard of Cuffy, here's the deal. He was running things in St. Louis. According to court documents, he led and organized the Gatling Trafficking Organization, a network that moved substances all over St. Louis from 2009 to 2014. So with Meech, Suarez, and Cuffy all working together, the plan was simple: move product, make serious money. But what they didn't realize? They had a snitch in the operation. Tammy was playing both sides, working with Meech while feeding everything back to the feds.
You mentioned Meech. Have you spoke to Meech at all?
I had a text message conversation back and forth with him because he's in the halfway house.
Mm-hmm. So. What do you think his next move should be?
Well, he got a lot of things he can do, man. He might want to make a movie. Mm-hmm. He might want to do some different things where, you know, because a lot of I understand how important real is to our culture, right? But when you develop in television, it's to find the best possible story you can find and then make up some things. You got to make up things because your life would intersect with Charlamagne's life, so I immediately get the lawsuit when we get over there. This would, you understand what I'm saying? You got to change things around a little bit, and then that's the series. When we see high notes, we see low notes, and at points it's when they do something that's like when we have a TV moment.
And guess what? That intel eventually got Cuffy locked up. On March 13, 2014, law enforcement swooped in and arrested Cuffy. He was later sentenced to 27 years in prison for substance exploitation and weapons charges. Charges that even included a homicide connection. But here's where things get weird. Meech didn't get charged for any of it. That's got people asking, how did Meech escape this without even an indictment? The feds knew everything, so why was he never held accountable? Well, that's because Tammy covered for him. In a courtroom hearing, Tammy was directly asked whether Meech was involved in setting up substance distribution deals between Suarez and Gatling. And guess what? She straight up denied it. When questioned about whether Meech arranged for Suarez to move kilos to Gatling in St. Louis, her answer stayed the same: no involvement. She shut it all down. But the real question is, why did Tammy protect Meech? And more importantly, what was she getting out of it? Well, that's where things get even crazier. Tammy might have protected Meech, but in the feds' eyes, she was no longer trustworthy. And if that wasn't bad enough, she was also involved with one of the DEA agents working the case. Yeah, she was literally sleeping with the enemy. Turns out she had a romantic relationship with Keith Cromer, the supervisory special agent over the task force investigating BMF. And let's just say that completely compromised the case. On top of that, Cromer was the one who signed off on Tammy receiving $200,000 for her work as an informant. That means he wasn't just having an inappropriate romantic relationship, he was also in a sketchy financial arrangement with her. So, at this point, Tammy was playing a very dangerous game, and eventually, it all came crashing down. In March 2015, Tammy stumbled across some court documents that made her heart drop. It was a suppression motion filed by Cuffy Gatling's legal team. And if this document got out, it could expose her identity as an informant. She freaked out, and rightfully so. Because if there was one person you didn't want knowing you snitched, it was Cuffy Gatling. This guy had a serious reputation. Official records show that back in 2010, Gatling ordered a hit on a man named Theodis Howard, all because Howard had snitched on his brother's narcotics operation. And in 2013, he had another man, Terrence Morgan, taken out just to make sure Morgan didn't cooperate with federal investigators. So if Gatling found out Tammy was the informant, it wouldn't have ended well for her. Panicked, she ran to the feds for protection. But guess what? They did nothing. With nowhere else to turn, Tammy decided to go straight to Meech. But instead of helping her, he completely separated himself. His response? He didn't want his name mixed up in the mess. Yeah, so much for loyalty.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. This shit gonna be special.
Epic.
Get your tickets right now.
I'm back.
At this point, Tammy knew she had to switch up her strategy. She went into full damage control mode, doing everything she could to erase Meech's name from the case. And to make things even messier, she turned on the DEA agent she had been involved with, accusing Agent Cromer of being jealous of her relationship with Meech. She even threatened to expose a sworn affidavit that suggested Cromer only implicated Meech because of his jealousy. So now, Tammy wasn't just fighting to protect herself, she was dragging everyone down with her. But was it enough to save her? Well, that's a whole nother story. Tammy might have tried to cover her tracks, but in the end, it didn't do her much good. Once Cuffy got locked up, he started connecting the dots, and it didn't take long for him to figure out exactly who snitched on him. So he decided to fight back. He requested a Franks hearing, which gave him the right to question his accusers, including government agents and informants. And guess who was on that list? Tammy. But the story doesn't end there. Fast forward to 2024, and Blue Da Vinci sat down for another explosive interview with Cap Capone. This time, Cuffy joined the conversation from prison via phone call, and he did not hold back. According to Cuffy, the real reason Meech never got sentenced was because he used third-party cooperation to save himself. He explained that a lot of people think this is all made up, or that he's just bitter about his sentence. But the truth, he's sitting in prison with a 27-year sentence all because of Big Meech and Tammy Cowens. Cuffy claimed that Meech worked out a deal where Tammy became a DEA informant, not just to help the feds, but to help Meech get a reduced sentence. And if you think he was making this up, he had the receipts. He broke it down, saying that Frank's hearings allow defendants to cross-examine the people accusing them, whether it's the government's agents, informants, or anyone else involved in the case. And this wasn't just some rumor, it was testified in court. Straight up on the stand, they confirmed that Tammy became an informant to get Meech's sentence reduced. And guess what? Even Cuffy's own daughter confirmed it. She even asked publicly, "Is it true that Big Meech did a third-party cooperation deal to get a reduced sentence by setting up my father, a known kingpin from St. Louis?" Well, that's the word on the street, and it's about to get even messier. All right, let's break this down. If you don't know who Cuffy is, here's the deal. He was a big-time kingpin from St. Louis and ran with Big Meech for over 20 years, starting back in 1990. And according to Cuffy himself, he was the first person to ever put $1 million in cash into Meech's pockets. But today, he claims that same loyalty got him set up. He says Big Meech betrayed him, and that's what landed him with a 27-year prison sentence. So how did this all go down? According to Cuffy, it all started back when Meech was locked up in Detroit's county jail after getting indicted in 2005. While fighting his case, Meech made a new connection, Fidel Suarez, a Spanish trafficker with strong ties to Mexican cartels out in Los Angeles, California. And here's where things get shady. Cuffy claims that Fidel was the first person Meech tried to set up in exchange for a reduced sentence. And who was Meech's middleman for the setup? None other than Tammy Cowens. Now this is where it gets even deeper because Cuffy's daughter, Tamara Gatling, even spoke out about what happened to her father. She recorded a message saying her dad, Dion Cuffy Gatling, was betrayed by one of his closest friends, Big Meech. She explained that her family had known Meech for over 30 years and he was like an uncle to her. But this situation, it had been devastating. And even worse, there were still so many unanswered questions. But one thing was clear, the paperwork backed up everything Cuffy was saying. So let's talk about Tammy's real role in all this. Back in 2011, she was supposed to help the feds target Hispanic traffickers. In exchange, she wouldn't have to testify. Instead, the DEA planned to deport them, keeping her hands clean. But Tammy wasn't just doing this out of the kindness of her heart. Her first question was, "How much am I getting paid for this?" A DEA agent reassured her, saying, "You'll get a lot of money." But that's when she cut him off and asked him something even bigger. "Can I get Demetris Flanori's time cut?" The agent's response, "We can work that." And just like that, Tammy wasn't just playing the game, she was controlling the board. So the question is, was she really acting alone? Or was Meech pulling the strings behind the scenes? With everything that's come out, a lot of people aren't buying the idea that Tammy was pulling all these strings on her own. Especially when you remember Meech willingly signed over his life rights to her. Some people believe if you're hanging around a known snitch, that makes you one too. And honestly, that might just be the case here. Now, if you're wondering why this case is just now blowing up, you can thank 50 Cent for that. Because when 50 talks, people listen. And he's been fanning the flames hard. Not only has he brought more attention to the case, but he's even hinted at dropping a tell-all scandal that could expose Meech as a rat. At this point, it's looking real messy for Meech. So now we gotta ask, how do you think this is going to affect Big Meech in the long run? And what about him and Tammy? Are they still connected? Or is that partnership completely over? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't miss what we've got coming next. That's all for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates.